No one ever taught you this, but it has the power to change everything. Your thoughts are not just a reflection of your life. Your thoughts are your life. And if you're willing to think differently for just 30 days, you can trigger a shift so deep that your dreams begin to unfold naturally. Not through force, not through struggle, but through alignment. The obstacles that seemed permanent begin to dissolve. The confusion begins to lift. The people, resources, and opportunities you once chased begin to move toward you. This is not just philosophy. It's a living system, one that was described nearly a century ago by a woman who saw far beyond her time. Her name was Florence Scovel Shinn. She spoke about the power of words, the authority of the mind, and how reality shapes itself around your beliefs. Long before neuroscience caught up, she was already teaching what modern science now confirms. Change your thoughts and you change your world. In this video, you'll learn exactly how to do that, day by day, for 30 days that could change everything. Florence Scovel Shinn believed that your greatest power lies not in your actions, but in your thoughts. Every breakthrough, every success, every healed relationship, or unexpected opportunity begins with a single internal moment, a thought. That thought either opens the door or closes it. I can or I can't. I am worthy or I am not. These are not passing ideas. They are instructions to life itself. Shinn taught that the mind is not just a mirror, it is a mold. And whatever you consistently think, feel, and speak becomes the shape your life must take. Her teachings centered on the idea that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and that by mastering thought, you can master your reality. She didn't say you needed to think positively for the sake of feeling good. She said you needed to think powerfully, because thought is the seed of manifestation. Your word is your wand, she wrote, but before you speak it, you must think it. And before you think it, you must believe it is yours by divine right. This process, she believed, is how spiritual law responds, not to begging or wishing, but to aligned thought and confident declaration. Modern science now supports what Shinn taught so clearly. Neuroscientists have shown that the brain is constantly rewiring itself based on repeated thought. This is called neuroplasticity. The more often you think a certain way, whether empowering or limiting, the stronger those neural pathways become. In other words, your brain doesn't care if a belief helps or hurts you. It just follows the pattern. That's why changing your thinking requires daily practice, and that's why Florence emphasized repetition. She understood, long before the science was available, that thought habits are formed like any other habit, through consistent use. Behavioral psychology adds even more evidence. Self-talk, or the way you speak to yourself in your mind, shapes how you act, how you feel, and how you perceive your future. People who tell themselves, "I always mess things up," are far more likely to reinforce failure. People who declare, "I can figure this out," shift into problem-solving mode. Shinn's work didn't rely on scientific language, but her method aligned perfectly. Replace limiting statements with powerful truths, say them as if they're real, and watch your world begin to transform. Florence believed that thinking in alignment with your desires was not a mental trick, it was a spiritual responsibility. You don't wait for circumstances to give you permission to believe in yourself. You decide who you are with your thoughts first, and then the world reflects that decision back to you. Every cycle of life, every rise or fall, starts with one idea in the mind. That's why your thinking is your point of power. And when you learn to direct it, 30 days is more than enough to set a new course. Changing your life doesn't begin with massive external shifts. It begins with subtle, daily changes in the way you think. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that transformation isn't a single event. It's a process, and that process starts with consistency. That's why a 30-day reset is so effective. It gives the mind enough time to break old patterns and build new ones. Not through willpower or wishful thinking, but through repetition, focus, and emotional engagement. Modern neuroscience confirms this timeline. It takes approximately 3 to 4 weeks of repeated mental input to start forming lasting neural pathways. So when you commit to 30 days of thinking intentionally, you're not hoping for change. You're engineering it. This isn't magic. It's alignment. It's about training your thoughts to match the reality you want to experience. Florence would call it tuning your inner vibration. She didn't ask people to pretend or fake positivity. She taught them to choose words and thoughts that reflected faith, trust, and expectation, and to do it regularly, like watering a seed every day, until the new mental pattern takes root. Her philosophy wasn't passive, it was a daily discipline. That's what this 30-day reset is about. Each morning, before the noise of the world takes over, begin with a clear intention. Say out loud one or two, "I am," statements that align with the life you want to live. I am confident, I am guided, I am abundant. You can also declare a general affirmation like, I expect the best and I trust life. The point is to speak with certainty, not as a wish, but as a fact. As you go through your day, the practice continues, not by adding more affirmations, but by becoming aware of your thinking. Whenever you notice a limiting thought arise, like, I never get what I want, or this always happens to me, pause and gently replace it. Florence would suggest something simple and strong. Every experience is working for my good, or divine order is now established in my mind and affairs. You don't need to fight the negative thought. You just need to redirect it. In the evening, take a moment to reflect, not to judge, but to observe. Did you speak to yourself with kindness today? Did you catch the old patterns and replace them? End the day with one final affirmation spoken before sleep, allowing the subconscious to absorb it. I am at peace. My life unfolds with ease and purpose. Over time, this practice begins to change what you expect from the world and what the world reflects back. Florence often spoke about the mental atmosphere we carry with us. It's what you radiate, consciously or unconsciously, into your environment. She believed that this mental climate determines what you attract. When your dominant thoughts are grounded in trust, confidence, and gratitude, your atmosphere changes, and people, events, and outcomes begin to shift with it. The 30-day practice is about establishing a new climate inside your mind, one that welcomes what you've always desired and allows it to find you. Many people try to change their mindset, start strong, and then stop halfway through, discouraged by a lack of visible results. They repeat affirmations but say, "It's not working," or "I don't feel anything changing." Florence Scovel Shinn understood this resistance. She knew that one of the greatest obstacles to materialization is not the absence of effort, but the presence of doubt. The moment we declare something new, I am successful, I am healed, I am guided, our old mental patterns often push back, and unless we're aware of those patterns, we fall right back into them. One of the most common mistakes is mechanical repetition. People say the right words, but without emotion, without focus, without belief. It becomes a routine with no power behind it. Shinn warned against this. She taught that words alone are not enough. They must be charged with feeling and faith. Faith is expectancy, she wrote. If you affirm something while secretly expecting it not to happen, your subconscious listens to the expectation, not the phrase. That's why she encouraged not just repetition, but inner conviction. You must speak your truth as though it's already real, not because you're faking it, but because you're reprogramming your inner response. Another trap is impatience. We live in a world addicted to instant results, but mental transformation doesn't work like a vending machine. Just because you planted a seed doesn't mean it will bloom the next morning. Shinn often reminded her readers that delays are not denials. Sometimes, she explained, there's a period of spiritual gestation where the outer world has not yet caught up with the new inner pattern. But if you quit the process too early, if you say it's not working, you undo the progress. Doubt is a mental poison, and even silent doubt left unchecked can stall the momentum you've been building. There's also the challenge of inner sabotage. This happens when a person consciously affirms one thing, but deep down feels unworthy of it. For example, someone may say, "I am attracting love," while subconsciously believing, "I don't deserve to be loved." These contradictions cancel each other out. Shinn didn't blame people for this. She showed them how to uproot those hidden beliefs with strong, truth-based statements like, "I am one with divine love, and love now finds me in perfect ways." She believed that the spoken word, when backed by faith, could override years of negative conditioning. The key is to stay with the process, especially when the mind tries to talk you out of it. Florence knew that old thought patterns don't vanish overnight. They fade through replacement, not resistance. When doubt shows up, don't argue with it. Just speak the truth again. I am safe. I am guided. Everything is unfolding for my highest good. This is how new beliefs are formed, through repetition, emotion, and patience. The 30-day practice isn't just about affirmations, it's about endurance. It's about trusting the unseen while the seen catches up. The moment you declare it's not working, you close the door you've been trying to open. But if you stay with it, especially in silence, especially in doubt, you prove that your faith is stronger than your fear. And that's when the real shift begins. Something subtle begins to happen around the third or fourth week of consistent mental work. You no longer have to force new thoughts. They begin to arise naturally. The inner resistance softens. The old voices of doubt and fear lose their volume. And for the first time, you start to notice a quiet, steady confidence emerging. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn meant when she said, "Man's only enemy is fear of lack." By changing your thinking daily, you gradually silence that enemy. After 30 days of intentional mental focus, your mindset is no longer defaulting to past patterns. It starts defaulting to strength, to faith, to expectation of good. The transformation is not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, like sunrise. Your self-talk becomes kinder, your energy steadier. You stop reacting to every setback as if it's a sign of failure. You begin to pause, to breathe, to choose your response. This shift in thinking changes more than your mood. It changes your vibration. And Florence believed that vibration is what determines attraction. You don't get what you want by wanting it. You get what you are. And after 30 days of conscious thought work, you've become someone new. Not because the world has changed, but because your inner world has. Scientific studies back this up. Researchers in neuropsychology have found that new neural pathways form through consistent repetition, and that it takes roughly 21 to 30 days to begin rewiring habitual thought patterns. This aligns directly with Florence's method. What she intuited through spiritual insight, neuroscience has now confirmed. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity becomes identity. You literally start to become the person you've been affirming. It's not instant, but it's real, and it's lasting, because you didn't just adopt a positive mindset, you built it. Florence often shared real-life stories in her books to show how this shift manifests. A woman who had struggled financially for years began affirming, "God is my supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly under grace." After weeks of resistance and doubt, she started to feel different. Not desperate, but expectant. Within a month, opportunities opened. Money arrived in unexpected ways, but more importantly, she no longer lived in fear. She became the version of herself that could receive. That is the true gift of this work. 30 days is not the finish line. It's the threshold. Once you've completed this period of mental reconditioning, you carry the momentum with you. You start to think better because it feels natural, not because you're trying. That's when your thoughts become your allies, your beliefs become your compass, and your dreams, once distant, begin to feel familiar, possible, close. This is not magic. It's alignment. It's the result of choosing your thoughts like you would choose your future. Because in the end, they're the same thing. Dear friends, if you liked this video, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.